Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name is Chopper, and in today's video, I want to talk about Black Ops 3 DLC 4 Revelations versus Infinite Warfare DLC 4 The Beast from Beyond, and how these maps are really similar, but also how they are a little bit different, and ultimately, at the end of the day, I want you guys to decide which map is better. Now, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, a like rating would be very much appreciated. We'll aim for 450 likes on this video. That'd be awesome. Subscribe if you guys do happen to be branded to the channel as well. And I want you to let me know in the comments, vote either Revelations or Beast from Beyond. Just put that in the comment section right now, and we'll see which map ends up winning. So let's start by discussing Infinite Warfare Beast from Beyond. Now, this of course is the final map in Zombies for IW, and this map is very similar to Revelations in the fact that some of the Easter egg steps seem to be very quite random, and it doesn't involve a lot of like killing zombies. You don't really need to do a whole lot of that. You just need to, it involves a lot of running around the map and then doing puzzles and things like that, and that's pretty much what Revelations is, and I feel like they went for that kind of pattern during this Easter egg, and it's pretty apparent during the steps where you have to, run Neil's head over, doing the puzzle box, and that sort of thing, collecting all the key cards. It's very simple tasks that you can do, but they do take a little bit of time because you got to run, especially if you're playing on solo, you got to run around the map, countless times to do all of your tasks. Similar, exactly how Revelations runs as well. But aside from just Easter egg stuff, I mean, the layout of the map is pretty much how Revelations is anyway. Like, the designs are one and the same. The fact that Revelations is a combination of many old Zombies maps in Treyarch's past, and IW, since it doesn't really have a past with other maps or other games, they just included everything, that they've had from their previous maps in Infinite Warfare. So, there's a little bit of Shallon in here, a little bit of Raven the Redwoods, there's some Nightfall from Extinction, so that's kind of the crossover to the other games. But in essence, it's pretty much Revelations the way it's designed, with a mesh of maps being put into one. And then obviously a little bit of new stuff with the boss fight, and then the super Easter egg boss fight, which we'll of course talk about later. When you're setting up for the Easter egg in Infinite Warfare, you really don't need anything to actually do the steps. No particular weapon is required to get them done. However, you need to get the Kindles pretty much for the boss fight. You're putting at yourself a huge disadvantage if you don't do it. So either way, in both maps, you're going to spend a lot of time hitting either the mystery reel or the mystery box. And of course, for Infinite Warfare, it's just going to be for one pistol that you need for the boss fight. And then in Black Ops 3, however, you actually need two different things out of the box to get the Easter egg steps done. Like, and they're absolutely required. You need both the Lil Arnies and you need the Apothicon Servant. So no matter which way you want to flip it, you're going to be hitting the mystery box, in both maps quite a bit, I would say. But the thing that's nice about Black Ops 3 is that we have the Immolation Liquidation Gobblegum, which spawns you 3 fire sales that you can go for anything you need out of the box, the Lil Arnies or the Servant. But I know we have in Infinite Warfare the Black Friday card, which is pretty much like a fire sale, however, you only get 1, and it's not 3 like we have in Treyarch, so it doesn't last nearly as long time, and I don't think it has really quite the same effect. I think it's also probably good to mention that high rounds on both maps are particularly pretty easy, especially on when you're playing Beast from Beyond. I mean, there's no super overpowered wonder weapon. I mean, the Venom X does not compare at all to the Apothicon Servant within Revelations, but there are a few cool strategies that even if you want to camp, you can get, 40, 50 plus with camping. If you want to train, there's some crazy things that you can do with traps, and you could end up, getting up in the 400 plus rounds of what I've seen. It's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of high rounds you can get to on both maps, and just kind of how easy they are. And I don't really know if they designed it in that way just to, encourage people to keep playing them. But just based on my personal experience and own opinion, I think that Revelations and The Beast from Beyond are the easiest high rounds maps in their respective games. And you guys can let me know your opinions on that in the comment section down below. What do you think is the easiest high rounds map in both IW and BO3? I think both something that Beast from Beyond and Revelations did really well is rewarding players who have done all the Easter eggs to make the map again if you want to play it much easier. Now, in Black Ops 3, if you've completed all the other eggs, you are rewarded with the Spark of Life, and that was just the thing that you take off the, like the spark from the headlight of the truck in Spawn. And what you can do with that is when you're doing the Sophia step of the Easter egg and you go to Samantha's room, you take the Spark of Life and put it on Samantha's music box, and basically what that will end up doing is giving you fully upgraded guns off the wall and out of the mystery box. So any gun you take from either is going to be automatically Pack-a-Punch, and that's a really nice reward. And not to mention you get Takio's Katana as an option as well. And then in Infinite Warfare, if you do all the Easter eggs, you unlock Director's Cut mode. And obviously we both know what Director's Cut mode is. You spawn with all your perks, you have a lot of points, and it makes setting up the map and just playing it a lot easier. And I gotta say, that's something I really give Infinity Ward credit for. I think with Director's Cut mode, it makes playing the maps a lot more, like, casually fun to play, right? If you don't want to go through the entire setup of building the wonder weapons, getting all your points and stuff like that, it just takes a very long time. You're just trying to get on and kill some zombies. Director's Cut mode is for you, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, and I think it's really nice. So you've already seen, and we've already talked about a lot of striking similarities between both of these maps. Now I think we should discuss, some of the main points, which is the boss fights of both of these. The Revelations boss fight technically has two of them. The first one, which is ironically the harder one, is kind of like what I like to call the pre-boss fight, where you just fight the 4 sequences of Margwas. This is something like no other that we've experienced. Basically, when we first got into this boss fight, we were very surprised to find that there's very little zombies that are actually enemies. You know, the majority of them are Margwas and the Apothecon Furies. I mean, there's other keepers and stuff in there, and you'll see a zombie here and there, you know, just while you're going about the sequences, but for the majority of it, your whole goal and your whole objective is to kill Margwas. You need to kill 2 to pass on to the next sequence. It doesn't matter how many Furies or Keepers or Zombies you drop, those are your main focus, and it's very, very strange. It almost kind of reminds me of a Destiny raid, the way the boss fight room itself is laid out, and then the enemies that you fight, it almost doesn't feel like zombies while you're doing this sequence, and I've always thought that was kind of a little bit interesting of Treyarch to try, but I commended them for it. And one more thing that I really like about the specifically Revelations pre-boss fight is the fact that no matter how skilled of a zombies player you are, most of the time, if you don't have like any just overpowered gobblegums like pop shocks or something like that, this boss fight will always provide a challenge to you, because there's always something that can go wrong. You know, you don't know what sequence you're going to get. It could be the walls, it could be the fire. You never really know. You have to stay on your toes all the entire time, and you need to make good decisions or else you will end up dying. And that's what I kind of like about it. So I can always hop into this boss fight and expect some kind of challenge to be put in front of me. And then when you look at the Beast from Beyond boss fight and compare it to Revelations, you'll see just an insane amount of similarities. The boss fight room itself is only accessible while you're doing the boss fight. You know, typically in IW maps, like the boss fight arena is part of the actual just, you know, regular gameplay as you're going about and doing tasks, especially for Easter egg steps. But in this time, in both Revelations and Beast, the only way to get into the boss fight room is to be by doing the boss fight. And it's similar to Revelations. Again, we only have cryptids. You know, we only have different creatures that aren't zombies. Literally, there's not a single zombie in this entire boss fight, and you know, kind of in Revelations we'll have one here and there, but there's literally nothing other than cryptids, rhinos, phantoms, and stuff like that in this particular one. And the exact same thing that I liked about the Revelations boss fight is the same thing that I like about the Beast from Beyond. Every time you play it, no matter how skilled you are, obviously you can get better at it and you can learn more patterns and the way things work, and obviously you're just going to become a more skilled player as you play it more, but no, nonetheless, it's still going to be a challenge to any sort of zombies player, whether you're a veteran at this game or whether it's your first time ever playing it. Especially during the part of the blue rhinos, there's always room to make mistakes, and every single time you play it, you learn something better, what to do and how to get rid of that mistake and get past it next time. And that's something that I really liked. You know, I was struggling at the you know, the first, I don't know, 5-6 times that I played this boss fight solo, but now that I've done it 10+ times, I think I'm fairly confident to say that I could do this entire thing with no downs and no struggles. It's just one of those things that you got to get used to, and that's what I like about both of these maps. And of course, for the finale, we got to talk about the main boss fights, right? We have the Shadow Man to finish off Revelations, and then I consider the Devil boss fight or the Mephistopheles boss fight the actual Beast from Beyond thing, because you can tell just the way this map was designed and put together that they kind of skimmed on the actual, you know, Easter egg steps and this boss fight, I would say, because there's no really main big guy in this one. Literally, you kill your 2 rhinos and then you're done. So I'd say that the main big boss fight for Beast from Beyond is, of course, Mephistopheles. So just for context of this video, I'm going to comparing him to the Shadow Man. And now, this is where we're going to see huge differences between these maps. The Shadow Man fight and the Mephistopheles fight could not be more different. Now, to be honest, when you're just looking at the Revelations boss fight, it looks quite intimidating and difficult. However, this is insanely underwhelming for a final boss fight for Black Ops 3. I mean, if you think about it, this is the last map Treyarch was going to put out that's technically new. I know we had Chronicles and stuff, but this is the technically last boss fight that we got from Treyarch, and it's so easy. Literally, fill up souls in the summon key once. If you do it right, you can literally finish this thing in, I don't know, 30 seconds, and you can see by this gameplay how infinitely easy this thing is. And if you're a skilled player, you know how this runs, you're a veteran, you've ran through this a few times, you could do this with your eyes closed in your sleep. It's actually ridiculous. And then when we compare this to the Mephistopheles boss fight in Infinite Warfare, this is where things get actually insane. This is something that I would actually call a real boss fight. The Revelations is not really, when you're fighting the Shadow Man, isn't really a boss fight, and to be honest, all the Shadow Mans in Black Ops 3 have been pretty easy in both SOE and Rev, and then when you actually take on Mephistopheles by yourself or even with a team, no matter what, this is always going to be somewhat of a challenge, and there's ways to cheese it and to make it a little bit easier on yourselves, but it's not always going to be a walk in the park, just like some of the Black Ops 3 boss fights happen to be. And this one, especially by yourself, is something that I've never completed solo. I pride myself on beating every boss fight, every Easter egg by myself, obviously, if it's able to be done. However, I've gotten very close on this thing, but I've still not done it yet. I'm getting better and better each time, but I've still not completed this on solo. I've done it with the team, but by yourself, it's a little bit different because when you're playing the team, you can make a lot of mistakes, and if your teammates are there to revive you. However, in this, you can only really make 2 mistakes because you have, obviously, your quick revive, you got your up and atoms, and then you have reanimated if you have that card as well for an extra revive, but that's it. As soon as you burn those, you're done if you take it down, and there's no second chances, no coming back. So that's what I really respect about this boss fight, is that you need to learn all the moves, and each time you can physically see yourself getting better and better at this. And one day, I'm going to beat this solo, and I'll definitely let you guys know when I do that. But I just want to compare these 2 maps because you can see the boss fights and just the layouts, the Easter eggs, everything in general. They're very, very similar, but this is where you see the stark contrast in the final boss fight, you know, the Shadow Man versus the actual devil. So let me know in the comment section if you guys enjoyed this video, and also definitely let me know if you prefer the Beast from Beyond or if you prefer Revelations, because there seems to be a huge disagreement on Revelations, whether it's, you know, it's a good zombies map or not, and then some people actually really love the Beast from Beyond. And to be honest, I enjoy both, but I want to know from you guys, which map do you like better? Everybody right now, if you guys, like I said, enjoyed this, definitely drop a like on the video, subscribe if you do happen to be brand new to the channel as well, and I will see you guys up in the next video. Peace out.